Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Happy Friday. You finally made it to the weekend, and we got a loaded show for you. We're going to preview all the things that's happening over the Razorback weekend. Razorback baseball starts today at 3 p.m., but we got a weekend of that. We also have, of course, Razorback basketball to talk about. SEC weekend, spring football. And then we're also going to have some calls and chats to get into. So if you want to call in on the conversation, 478-344-6623 is that number. But fellas, how we doing? Curtis, I'm not going to lie. I spent way too long trying to think of any way I could use your name in the song from Nelly of "You Can Find Me in St. Louis." But you don't have a May in your name. You don't have a May in your letter. So I was just... You're in St. Louis, but yeah, it's how we doing today.
That's right. That is where you can find me for sure. I'm doing good, man. At the lovely DoubleTree, and if you know about that DoubleTree life, you know about the DoubleTree cookies, and that's a big deal. There's an Applebee's attached to this joint, so it's going to get a little bit crazy later. You know what I'm saying? But no, up here to see some family and looking forward to it. And we're good. Got a little Busch Stadium action behind my head here for those who are Cardinals fans. That place is going to be empty all season because the team sucks, but it's a nice stadium. But I'm doing all right. I'm glad we got in here and got set up in time.
Yeah, I remember one time staying with you at a DoubleTree, and you were kind of offended that I wasn't familiar with the DoubleTree cookie and didn't know what to expect. Yeah, but I'm happy you got to enjoy that, and I hope you have a great weekend in St. Louis. But yeah, it's going to be a loaded week of Razorback sports as always, and I'm excited about it. The weather is great.
Yeah, perfect. It's a high of 69 today. Nice. So it's going to be a great day for the Razorbacks. By the way, Curse, does anybody actually call it St. Louis, like St. Louis? But not St. Louis, right?
I was going to say only you. Yeah, it's
Nelly did that, not me. Nelly did that. All right. So
yeah, maybe Chingy.
Chingy, is he?
Yeah.
I
was hoping I could say the same Holiday Inn as him, but
Oh, yeah. We're just missing the mark. We have so many things we set ourselves up for. We're just missing the mark here. But but again, we appreciate everybody jumping in with us and having some fun with us here today. Again, we'll get to your chats and your phone calls, folks, throughout the show. But hey, Razorback basketball tomorrow. South Carolina on the road, the worst team in the SEC, and Arkansas is playing well, and they are in the NCAA tournament, at least for now. I mean, what could go wrong tomorrow, guys? Really? I mean, what could really go wrong for the Razorbacks when you're playing the worst team in the SEC? You're playing your best basketball right now, and you have a chance to add to your resume and to add to your SEC victories to get your seeding up in the SEC tournament. I mean, what could go wrong?
I've been saying this on the Pod of the Palace, and I'm probably going to say it 100 times before tip-off tomorrow. This would be the most Arkansas game ever to lose, and it would suck because I think South Carolina, and I mean this as a compliment, they're probably the best last place team in the country. I mean, if you really like last place in the SEC, that's about as good as it gets. Like they've got to win over the second place team in the ACC. That's kind of what you're dealing with here. But I mean, I worry about this game just from a standpoint of the quickness of the turnaround and you're shorthanded and everything. I guess we'll see what the injury report looks like tonight about 7:00, but it's just such a huge opportunity for Arkansas, man. Fellas, if you guys look at the bracketology stuff that's been coming out today, like the pre-weekend updates, Arkansas is in such a good spot. Like you're seeing them pop up on that 10 line so much more often. They're in pretty much every projection, kind of moving in the direction of being off that bubble. I'm not saying you're locked if you beat South Carolina, but like the lock is on the door, right? And then at that point, you just got to kind of like close the thing shut. They're getting really, really close. I think they sense it. And I just, we've kind of been doing this thing where we're like, oh, is this a letdown spot for Arkansas? Oh, are they really going to bring it again? Boy, they're due for kind of a stinker. All that might be true, but I'm done doubting John Calipari. Like, I think he's going to have these dudes ready to play. And as dangerous as a sucky South Carolina team is, they're still 1-14 in the league, man. So no excuses for Arkansas to go up there and lose this game.
Yeah, we do this every now and then where like a game becomes a trap game, and on paper it very much is a trap game, but then we talk about it so much and it becomes such a narrative to where I'm like, is it really a trap game at this point? If for weeks we've been looking at this and being like, hey, South Carolina, they're not bad. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since we were like, we really hope they lose a game so that it doesn't become, a thing. And so I think it's one of those things where I agree that like this is a spot where if Arkansas comes out and lays an egg, I won't be surprised because of the quick turnaround, because you played, you finished your game at 11 p.m. on Wednesday night in one time zone, then you're playing at noon in a different time zone. Like it has all the ingredients, and it's hard to get motivated for games like this sometimes. But I feel like it's almost too obvious. I think Arkansas is going to take care of business here, and I agree. South Carolina's way better than their record indicates, and especially in SEC play. But I think this is one where Arkansas takes care of business, because I think Arkansas is at that point now where they can feel, they're getting a taste. They're getting a little bit of a taste. They can smell blood in the water. It's not going to take much for this team to lock up that NCAA tournament status. You go ahead and win this one. You get some real breathing room, and then then you're really getting back to that house money territory. And so I think this team, as banged up, as battered as they are, as battle tested as they are, I think they know one more win really puts them in a good spot. They could do a lot of good for themselves on Saturday.
John, I want to ask you a question real quick. I'm asking you a South Carolina question. Okay. But doesn't it feel like when teams are in this spot that they could kind of go in two different directions, right? Like you're 1-14 or 1-15 or whatever they are in the SEC. And so it's like, dude, we really don't have anything to play for anymore. Like, what are we motivated for? Pride? Like that went out the window a long time ago. So do you think that we're going to see a South Carolina team that's just kind of unmotivated and like, whatever, let's just kind of get this across the finish line? Or is there something to be said for, like you're not going to the NCAA tournament. You kind of know that at this point. So you're just kind of carefree, right? Like there's no pressure. We're just going to go out there and kind of hoop. And I think that's what might make them dangerous. I wonder which one of those South Carolina teams we're going to see.
As an expert in losing teams and watching losing teams, I can tell you that, I think it always depends on the coach. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest about this. I don't know enough about Lamont Paris as a coach to know one way or the other. Like if this was a team that, like, because as weird as it sounds, and maybe you guys disagree, but say if a Michigan State or a Kansas or a North Carolina, like these blue blood programs, if they were having a year like South Carolina's having, I would be like, yeah, this team's cooked, toast. They don't care. Because, that expectation and that pressure that gets mounted because of who they are and what program they're at is high and who's their coach. But at South Carolina, where I will never forget this as a quote for somebody who came on my radio show a couple years ago who covers South Carolina basketball, told me South Carolina is the worst basketball program in the SEC. It's not even close as far as being set up for success. I think that might be a little bit more dangerous just because of, I don't know a lot about Paris, and maybe they're trying to, play with reckless abandon. He's like, hey man, or who knows, maybe these days, guys, these players are like, hey, I gotta show up my transfer portal film, when I'm getting out of here. Maybe there's that too. So it's a little worrisome. It's a little scary, but I'm going to be honest too, guys. I think that I believe Arkansas wins, but I don't think it's going to be like it was. What was it, 3-4 years ago when Arkansas went to South Carolina and Desi Sills was just raining. He was a certified bucket that day. I just don't see that happening. I feel like it's just going to be one of those games that is a lot closer to what it should be. But yeah, they are. I'm always scared, man. I'm a Razorback fan. I'm always nervous. I always feel, but it helps that they got that one win out of the way. If they were 0-15 right now, I'd be a wreck. I'd be an absolute wreck. But they got the one win out, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
Dude, they play everybody so close at home. You were just hoping they would get one so they could just get it out of their system. And maybe that's all they needed to be like, yeah, whatever. I kind of wish Colin Murray Boyles was looking at this right now going, like, I'm pushing lottery status here. Like, what do I have to play for, man? I'm just going to shut this thing down. I hyperextended my knee, like I'm out of here, man. So I don't know. I will say you said you don't know anything about Lamont Paris. The only thing I know about Lamont Paris is from interviewing him in Nashville last year. And we found out that every morning between the hours of 9 and 10 o'clock, he takes a walk around campus and he gets a Starbucks coffee and Taco Bell breakfast. And that's his mixture. And that just sounds like the worst stomach ache every single day. I don't know if he does it anymore because I think he lost a little bit of weight, but that was his thing, like every day. And the players are like, oh yeah, we see him. I see him out of my apartment with his Starbucks. And then a few minutes later, he's walking by with that Taco Bell. And I'm like, brother, you need to reconsider some of your life choices.
Dude, you may see him, but you also smell him too, if that's the case. Goodness.
Yeah, I think his that schedule has a different stop at about 11 a.m. He's got a scheduled one every day. But speaking of South Carolina and kind of what Arkansas is up against, I think of course they're always going to be, when you have a team that's playing with nothing to lose, that's always a little bit dangerous. But I also feel like it's kind of up to Arkansas if they early on kind of match that and come out and punch South Carolina in the mouth, it's going to be pretty easy for those guys to quit. They just lost by like 30 or something the other day. I don't remember who they played in midweek. Missouri, yeah, which, there's no shame in getting 30 pieces by Missouri. But it's like one of those things where if you're South Carolina and Arkansas doesn't sleepwalk in the first half and they come out and they're up 8 at half, why wouldn't you just roll over and quit? And so I think it's going to be one of those things that Arkansas, if they let South Carolina into the game early, it's going to be hard to kind of reverse that. But if Arkansas comes out and punches South Carolina in the mouth early and kind of is up for the challenge, which is hard to do at noon, we'll see if they do a shoot around. But I do think like with this, once you lose once, it's easy to lose. And so it'll be nice. Arkansas needs to just not mess around. But if you mess around, then all of a sudden they become dangerous and dangerous. You're not going to have a ruckus crowd or anything, but Arkansas can come out and just those first like 8 minutes are going to be so important because I think you can just go ahead and that arena, you'll be able to drop a pin in there after about 8 minutes if Arkansas is playing even semi-decent basketball.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to ask this because I know we've only got it in our own, like this is for the chat too. So, but in our own opinions of what we watch, guys, I can only think growing up as a Razorback fan and everything, one legit memorable Razorback South Carolina basketball game. Like it just seems like it's been. And the only one I can remember is when Arkansas went on the road and Manny Watkins hit that crazy, like, stupid shot when the shot clock was going off. And was like, wow, he hit a jump shot. Like, it was so weird. But I remember that one. And that's about it. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. I remember another one, Eric Musselman, where you and your team ended the 3-point streak.
Yep.
You terrible human being, you. 1,092 straight games gone. And I don't care if you got the win, but obviously I was very disappointed by that. But anyways, my point is I just don't remember many games that were memorable between Arkansas and South Carolina.
I definitely remember the 3-point streak ending. I remember they went there and beat up on those dudes on the road, and it was a random Desi Sills game in Muss's second year. Like I think he hit like 5 threes or something, and they scored a bunch of points. I think it was it Mike's last year? No, I'm pretty sure it was Muss's first year. No, it was. They lost to South Carolina at home by 1, and that's when Hayes Myers, like the sub, support staff assistant coach or whatever, got the technical foul, and they wound up losing the game. And then afterwards, Muss threw him under the bus.
The only one I can really think of is y'all remember that South Carolina team that went to the Final Four?
Yes.
Yeah.
Arkansas beat them at South Carolina that year. What was that guard? PJ Dozier? They had him and Sindarius Thornwell.
Yeah.
And they went to the Final Four, but like they weren't good at all. Arkansas got a massive road win out at South Carolina. And I want to say they started off the game like down 10-0 or something like that. And then it was a hashtag game of runs. And Arkansas got a huge win at the time, which got Arkansas to, I think that was the Arkansas team that lost to Butler in the NCAA tournament. But at the time, it felt like a big win there at South Carolina.
Yeah. No, I do remember that one. And I think that wasn't that the one when Manny Watkins hit that shot. I think it was the same year.
I was trying to think. I know Manny Watkins was on that team, or at least should have been on that team, but I couldn't remember if it was that exact year.
And I always laughed about the fact that Frank Martin, when he was at South Carolina, he was there for like 8 years. He was there a long time.
Yeah.
Did not make the postseason any year except the year they went to the Final Four. Like not even an NIT. Like either was awful or goes to the Final Four. And I know that everyone's so excited that in the SEC, I forget Texas and Oklahoma, but in the modern SEC, Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida are Final Four teams, and now they've been joined by Bama and South Carolina recently, just as anticipated.
That's basketball. One of the worst Final Four teams ever, and there's been some bad ones because you've had these like Cinderella stories, whether it's George Mason, VCU, whoever the hell, FAU, South Carolina that year is the worst Final Four team I've ever seen.
Yeah, like and nobody was even excited about it. It wasn't even like a good story. Because Frank Martin, I feel like Frank Martin was not well liked by a lot of people. I didn't mind him, but like there was people that just didn't like him. And some of those Kansas State teams that he had, like what was it, Jacob Pullen and Clemente, like they had some dudes there. So I thought it was like at South Carolina may get it going, but
dude, before he got double COVID, he was like a very intimidating guy. Remember that? Like he was kind of jacked. He had the military flat top. Like the dude was nuts, man. And COVID almost got him. Like he got really sick there, but he was
big
intense.
on taking his suit off, like his suit jacket off, and he would be like sweating through it because he was one of the most intense, hard-nosed coaches you can find.
Fired up, man.
And I think I know we'll get to some of your chats, folks, but I think also one of the things that was weird is, do you guys remember when that kid, like a little kid, asked him a question at a press conference? It was like some little program for Sports Illustrated kids or something. And I remember like hearing and watching the video and hearing him ask him. And I was like, dude, this is like, is he going to get mad or is he going to just move on? But he goes, you know what? That's a great question. You guys should take some notes over this kid right here asking this question. And I was like, all right, bro, just chill out and relax. But do you guys know where Frank Martin is right now for bonus points?
UMass.
Dang it! Why did I even ask that? Like I should have just asked Andrew. But yeah, he's at UMass.
He's the head coach at UMass.
Yeah, man.
I would 1,000% have not gotten that.
I didn't know that either. He's 11-15, 6-7 in conference. So pretty consistent.
Did he coach? Is this his first year? Did he coach Cohen?
No, he's third year.
Yeah, I remember talking about the Frank Martin factor with Cohen. I was like, hey, he'll be able to take Muss's coaching. This is a big get for Arkansas.
Man. And no, just one other random thought, but that man, Jacob Poland, that guy I was referring to, was it Fear of the Beard? That was a cool. I remember that little run. And they had one of the best tournament games you'll ever see. I think it was Xavier and Kansas State. Go back and watch those highlights. Great game in the NCAA tournament.
Did he coach Beasley at Kansas State?
It was either him or Weber.
I think it was Weber.
I don't know.
It might have been Weber.
Yeah. Because did Weber go from Kansas State to Illinois? Or I can't remember.
Illinois to Kansas State.
Illinois to Kansas State. Okay.
Yeah, Weber.
Okay. All right. Well, I said just hard to keep up with these coaches these days. I tell you.
I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can find that the post game when Hayes Myers got that tag, because I'm almost certain it was Bob, because he was always the one who would ask, like, hey Eric, you lost by one. You had the technical foul there. Like what happened there? And Mush just leans into the mic and he was like, Hayes Myers got the tech. It was Hayes Myers. And we were like, this dude's fired. If he wasn't cutting everybody's hair during COVID, he probably would have gotten fired. It's crazy.
Can't have the guy not cutting hair. I mean,
actually, it wasn't even him. That was Pat Ackerman. I don't know why he didn't get fired. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy. I went back and looked at that game too, Curtis. And again, I know you know all this, but like, Mason Jones may have had one of his best games as a Razorback. 34 points, 9 of 15 from the field, 15 of 16 from the free throw line, with 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. That's stupid insane. Numbers, man. Now he did have 7 turnovers, but still, that was just a wild time and a wild game.
Speaking of Mason Jones, you guys see him like sort of call the Hogs yesterday?
No.
I did not. With the Kings?
The Sacramento Kings. Yeah, it was like a TikTok or something, but I saw it on Twitter, and they were asking like every one of the players what their high scoring game like ever in their career was, and he didn't even really answer the question, but then he just went like, "Woo, go Razorbacks!"
Oh, I was like, all right, man,
it was pretty good.
Like, don't do it if you can't do it. Like, just don't even start it. Come on, man. Curtis, you need to start sharing this stuff in the group text, all right? I feel like I've been left out the dry over here.
I was planning on I was gonna clip that and send it to you guys, but then I got the other one of Muss freaking out on the bench during the Kentucky game, and then the women's basketball team lost the way they did. It slipped my mind last night. So
there was a lot going on. It's understandable. All right, let's get to some of your chats, folks. Again, everybody who wants chiming in, you can also call in at 478-344-6623. Actually, I tell you what, let's go to the phone lines first, because when I leave people on hold, they get pissy. Not saying that this person does, but just, we can work through it. Sometimes I forget the calls. I have the equipment back. I got to get back in the routine of everything. But I believe this is Mike, who's in Dallas. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Real good.
Doing great, man.
Good to see y'all on the show today. Love watching. Now I'm just calling about the best way we can beat those cocks tonight. Best way we can do it, man, just go in there with great pressure, security, and just choke them as much as you can, and just keep choking. And I'm telling you, you'll hear the crowd talking about beat those cocks. all hands on deck tonight. All hands on deck to beat those Cox tonight. But I just appreciate y'all show, man, and positive, man. Y'all doing a great job. Y'all gonna do great things. Y'all gonna go so far in this. Y'all are the best show in Arkansas, and it'll be nationwide before you know it. So, Hogs by 90, Woo Pig.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Well done, Mike. Well done.
That is well done. Yeah, man, that was great. Yeah,
I've been
appreciate
glad you got one of those. Actually, that was a good call.
That's
Yeah.
good. That was real good.
Well, again, it's like, this thing that I guess he's in Dallas, but I had it in Arlington. It doesn't matter. But here in the next few weeks, folks, we're going to have a reinvented phone line system that's going to really showcase our residential callers that we really appreciate, I think. So,
right.
but either way, you can keep calling in. We'll try to get to your phone calls as best as possible. It comes down to that. It makes me feel like I'm in sports talk radio again.
Yeah, if you're gonna call in today though, like that shtick is already done. Like you gotta have a new one. Like you gotta mix it up a little bit. Don't double down on the cock jokes. So
yes.
Am I tripping, or was Mike the one that had called in and was like commenting on our legs?
I don't remember. Maybe
we were at Leroy that one time, and there was like a guy that was like pointing, like he just like, "Hey, I can see y'all. I can see y'all legs."
Come on, man. Nobody talks about our physical appearance ever, and makes light of it. So, also, real quick before we get to chats, just to let everybody know, just now, hot off the press, the Razorbacks, according to BetSaracen, are 2.5-point favorites to South Carolina.
Wow, 2.5 point road faves. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And
I'm not going to complain about that. I think that's it's fair.
Yeah, and the over/under set at 136.5.
Okay.
So if you want to get
I'm not
in
going to
on
complain
it,
about that either. I think that's probably about right.
yeah, if you want to get in on it and check it out, be sure to do it with BetSaracen. A few of the chats here that Razor Hog just says, I'm addicted to going to the dentist. I don't know what that means, but I'm not.
It's crazy, man.
Like literally the first time I've been to the dentist in 8 years, and that's sad. I know.
Goes in there and gets gassed up.
Yeah, it's like that one time happens. I was John's addicted. That's what that's usually that's the way addictions go. Phoebe, one of our female watchers, appreciate you, Phoebe. She says, "What could go wrong, John? This is the SEC and Arkansas Razorbacks. Everything can go wrong." Yeah, did you not sense the little twist of sarcasm there? But I get it. No, everything can go wrong because that's why at the end of the under 4 timeout of every Razorback basketball game, I tweet out the same stupid thing because I want everybody to know, like, it's set up for something to go wrong because it normally does. So.
Nothing is ever off the table with the University of Arkansas, man.
We talked to Kentucky fans about this where we were like, you guys got into a dangerous spot because you entered the Arkansas game. None of them saw it coming. None of them were even prepared whatsoever for the possibility of them losing. That's never going to be a thing with this crew. No. We will always, in the back of our minds, know that humiliation is in play at any given moment.
Real quick, just to throw this out at everybody. In any sport for Razorbacks, can you remember a time where you were the most like betrayed, where you felt so confident Arkansas won the game and then they ended up not? Like, not saying before the game. I'm talking about like during the game, at the end, like this is done, curtains, and at the end of you're like, are you serious? Can you remember any like
that comes to mind for me, weirdly enough, and this is going to sound stupid because this was a game head coached by Chad Morris. The San Jose State game, of all those really bad losses that Arkansas football had, that one hurt a lot. Curtis, I know you saw this one firsthand because they had just benched Ben Hicks, gone to Nick Starkel, and then put up like 56 points against Colorado State, which, not like anything to write home about, but it was like, okay, now Arkansas is like at least going to try and be a normal football team. And they were hosting San Jose State, and they were like 12-point favorites. And I'm like, dude, they're going to beat these dudes by 30. Why are they only 12-point favorites? That was brutal. But that was one where I was like, that was actually around the time when I started realizing you just can never take anything for granted in Razorback sports. Obviously the 2018 season stunk, but it was year one. We all kind of were willing to chalk that one up. 2019, when the Chad Morris ran it back and went 2-10, that was the year that really changed the way I viewed sports, frankly.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of good examples for football. I mean, I think about basketball and it's like disbelief at the time that it happened, and you look back at it and a lot of people forget, but when Muss and those guys last year lost to UNC Greensboro at home, like right before they went to the Bahamas, I just never thought anything like that was possible because they would get scares like for his entire tenure, at Bud Walton against those non-conference teams. But I don't know how many times I tweeted out like I was like he's never lost a non-conference home game, and it's not going to start now. And when they actually did lose, that me and Scotty have talked about it a lot. Like looking back on last season in hindsight, that was the first red flag of like, oh, this this might not go well, man. That was a crazy game.
Yeah. I remember how much I try to justify in my own head of like, no, it's fine. I mean, come on. It's, hey, he's had such a great record and everything's been so good in non-conference for years. I mean, hey, you're going to have one, hey, this is a tournament team. This is a playoff team that Arkansas just faced, right? They're as good as anybody. And people were marveling at the job that Eric Musselman had done at that point. So, it just, I try to justify it, but that one did hurt. People were actually bringing up like the Louisiana Monroe game of 2012, which is a really good one. But like during the game of just thinking, it's over with, it's done. And then they come back. But also, of course, like somebody just tweeted at me, the Virginia Tech Belk Bowl. But my thing is, I get, which I agree. But my only thing is, I'm like, I would have if they didn't already like 2 weeks prior blow that lead to Missouri the way they did. So,
right. That team, we were fully like, if you had told me that morning that was going to happen, I would have been like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of those games, ULM's a good one. And it's kind of like, I think the ULM game for me is like the gold standard when it comes to sports heartbreaks. Because we really hadn't experienced that, at least not in our lifetimes. I know that the Citadel happened, but I don't even know if you guys were really conscious for that. I just remember hearing about the Citadel and how crazy that was. I'm like, Arkansas could lose to a team of that caliber. But think about all the nut years, as many horrible losses as they were, they never had anything nearly as bad as the ULM game.
No. In fact, the worst loss they ever suffered was to Vanderbilt and Jay Cutler at home, because I thought that was the lowest I could ever feel as a Razorback fan, was losing to Vanderbilt and Jay Cutler. But
that team that lost to Hofstra lost to Vanderbilt at home, and that was one where I was in utter disbelief. Obviously, the Hofstra one was also a tough one. Another basketball one that comes to mind, and this is a little bit, I don't know if this necessarily qualifies, when they lost to Butler in the NCAA tournament, which a game I just referenced. Yeah. That loss was one where it was like, I think it was a 7-10 game, so it wasn't a massive upset. But that team, the year before had come within a possession or two of upsetting the number one overall seed and the team that won the national title. And so you run it back with the same group. We all that entire year, no matter what ups and downs that team had, we were like, yeah, but this team's built for March. Like they can win in March. We know they can. So, and they were like a trendy Final Four pick that year. Arkansas was, as I guess they were a 7 seed. And then for them to just kind of get blown out by Butler, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. We were all looking so much past Butler doing the 7'8" guy from Purdue broke his elbow. So they're going to make it to the Sweet 16 for sure. Nope.
Oh man. Yeah. That's when I think I was kind of like, not like mad. I was mad, but like done with Mike Anderson. I was like, okay, dude, you had Daniel Gafford, Jalen Barford, Daryl Macon, and those three guys alone, and you lose to Butler. Like, come on. Also, fun fact, that is still the greatest upset that Arkansas has ever suffered in the NCAA tournament. Still to this day, it's the greatest upset. So let's hope that doesn't get changed. Let's hope that stays and remains the same way too. So a few more chats, and we're going to keep it moving here. Caleb says, Andrew, Globe Life is 100 times better than the stadium in Houston. Go Rangers.
So, okay, like I guess I was noticing because there was a couple people that like push back against that, and it's literally just Rangers fans, which like I understand, you gotta support your team and all that. But I would just talk, I know there's a lot of Rangers fans. Globe Life is like unanimously viewed as a bottom tier MLB stadium, and that's not like just me being a dick. Like when I saw some of this pushback, I looked it up. I looked up 4 different sites in the last year that have ranked every MLB ballpark. And the highest ranking I could find for Globe Life was 22. And it's a brand new stadium. Like they built it like 5 years ago. And so it's like, that's all. And most of them were like 25, 26, 24. It's not a horrible park. Like I like watching the Hogs play there, but in terms of big league ballparks, that shit sucks, dude. So it looks like a warehouse.
I like that. I like that place. I thought that's why they had the World Series there at the COVID years, because everyone liked that place. But
nah. I mean, look, I would love to be proven wrong. If someone can find me an MLB ballpark ranking that has Globe Life in the top 20,
it's probably not true.
If you're at least like there's a lot of like mediocre ones, but like even like Kauffman in Kansas City, that one is unanimously like a top 12 to 16 one or whatever. And I don't even think Minute Maid, which is no longer Minute Maid, I don't even think it's like a elite ballpark. But Globe Life, I would say, is on the bottom tier. It has like no personality whatsoever.
No, I just was going to take a shot at St. Louis since Curtis is there and he's a Cardinals fan. But I was just like, the Busch Stadium's it's the best because
you can't take a shot at Busch when it comes to parks.
Yeah.
But that's an elite one right there.
Yeah, well,
the team.
it's because they do it the right way. They do it the Cardinal way, and that's important. That's what gives them that great stadium. So I can't talk trash on my team. Suck.
I don't like the Cardinal way.
Yeah,
Cardinal way.
Good. I'm glad you don't, because my buddy Devin does, and it drives me up a wall. All right. So also, Tamara says South Carolina's 363rd in defending 3-point shots. Let's hope Big Z and Nelly in Brazil hit some big threes. It'd be nice.
Yeah, that's a good stat pull right there. And that's the one thing I don't want to see is like after the game when Cal's doing we had 10 threes. They were wide open. We missed all of them. I don't know. We can't have that because you're going to get good looks against South Carolina for sure. Here's, if we want a flip side stat, something that scares me about them is they're 7th in the country. South Carolina is in free throw rate. It's like they get fouled and they get to the line a lot. And Arkansas doesn't have a roster. So
cannot afford to commit fouls in this game.
Yeah. Careful with that one.
Yeah. So hopefully Cal just continues to scream at him. No fouls the whole game. Because you can't have any fouls. There's no fouls. Also, let's see. Razorback Zach says, how many more games would it take to make Arkansas a lock for the NCAA tournament? And in my eyes, it's 2 of the last 3. I'd agree that.
Yeah, 2 or 3
you're good.
Absolute lock. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like, honestly, and you're going to have these 3 games and who knows how they go, but I've already set my heart on Arkansas losing Vanderbilt. Like, I've already just accepted that because a stupid 9 p.m. game, as well as in that weird arena, it just gives it's a setup game for a loss. And also Vanderbilt's pretty decent. So I think that's going to be the case. So if you beat South Carolina, lose to Vanderbilt, and then beat Mississippi State, not saying that, that's what you want because you want to win all 3. But if you do that, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And that gets you to what, 8-10, right? Yeah. 8-10 in SEC play. Sheesh. What a change. What a year.
I'll allow it.
Year. Yeah. Grind to Shine TV says, what's up, fellas? Anyone heard about Adu's injury update? Nope. Or as Cal said in this press conference, his back's been bothering him.
Yeah. And I guess it was the broadcast that said he was out in LA getting a second opinion or whatever, but I have a hard time and we'll see what the availability report says tonight, but I have a hard time believing that Wednesday at midnight he was in LA and then he suddenly made it back to Fayetteville to get on the airplane to go on this road trip today. Like I would be very pleasantly, but very surprised if that was the case. So I don't expect Arkansas to have Adu Saturday or Tuesday. Like, would you even go back home if you live? Like, I wouldn't. I'd kind of stay out there, I guess. But I don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah, don't expect having Theo tomorrow.
You gotta have him there for senior day though, for the Mississippi State game for all the seniors. It's senior day. It's an important day. I mean, all these kids that have been here forever. They need to have their special day. So hopefully he makes it back for the Mississippi State.
And Junior Ford Adu Theo needs to be celebrated on that day.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad we finally got hopefully the people just continue. Get rid of the spring games and get rid of senior nights in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be great. Let's see. Super chat from Tangular Water says, thanks, John, Andrew, and Curtis. Go Hogs. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Heck yeah.
I'm just going to assume you're thanking us for doing this, but if there's some other thing that you're thanking us for, you're also welcome for that too. So
we appreciate your super chat, and we also appreciate your incorrect Roman numeral usage.
Yes, it's respected. A few more here before we move on. We got he says, what year did Hogs win the SEC tourney to get to the NCAA tournament? That was 2000. That was the year 2000. The only time Arkansas has won the SEC tournament in college and men's college basketball. Well, I guess they haven't ever won it in women's either. And also, I think it's one of 5 SEC tournament championships that Arkansas has won across all sports when they've played in about 38.
Yeah.
I wish I was making that up.
They had to survive Y2K to get that one. Like it's a struggle out there, man.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't easy. Thankfully, they had a guy named Joe Johnson that was really good. So that was nice for him.
ISO Joe is built for the SEC tournament. He's built for a 4 games in 4 days, 5 games in 5 days type of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys freaked out about Y2K? Andrew, how old were you? Like,
I was a literal toddler, like 2-3 years old.
You didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know. It was a big deal around my parts. We didn't have internet around that time or anything like that, but we were worried about stuff.
Yep. I remember we had to go and check our computers and everything to make sure that and what was so funny is I remember like we went into our car because it had it was one of them fancy Jeeps that had the date in it. And I remember turning it on like as soon as midnight hits, like, okay, is everything good? Oh, it's good. And we go back on the computer, like, all right, so what's happening? Did it crash? Is it set on fire? It's like, no, just moved on to the next year. Like, all right. Yeah. It was a big deal, but then literally nothing happened.
Now I was eating canned goods and rations for like the next 4 years for dinner. It's crazy.
SpaghettiOs, man. Having to do it. All right. So let's continue it on and let's get into our question of the day. And we can kind of utilize it as far as an announcement that was made. It's presented by Alumni Hall, folks. And remember, Alumni Hall is the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. If you want the best, greatest, latest Razorback apparel, you got to do it with Alumni Hall, okay? Because they are the best. You can shop online at insidearkansas.com/Alumni Hall. And a week from today, we're going to be live at Alumni Hall for Inside Arkansas Live. So you can come see us there too. And we'll give some more details next week. But a little cool thing, you know, this Hogs by 20 thing that we do for promo codes, Alumni Hall is doing it too. So for 20% off your purchase, it's Hogs by 20. How about that? So you can check it out. We like consistency around here. So, but yeah, we appreciate Alumni Hall. Again, all the Razorback apparel, especially for baseball coming up. They got it all. So check them out at insidearkansas.com/Alumni Hall. So fellas, there was some huge news announced for Razorback football. That's right. Razorback football, that they have a key spring and fall dates have been officially set. They are doing, I guess they're calling it a red-white game. It's whatever. It's like they're doing that as a part of softball hosting Colorado State at Bogle Park. That's going to be happening, and also Texas A&M coming to town there as well. So that's April 19th. That's when that will happen. And the 5th spring practice of Coach Pittman will be Monday, March 10th is when it's starting up. So cool. How excited are you for spring football? That's the question of the day. How excited are you for spring football?
I'm not. Like, I'm really not. And I've never been one that gets super excited about spring football, though, in fairness. I don't care. Like, I'll be excited or, like, I don't know, intrigued by the first few days just to get, like, first impressions of some of the new guys, you know, like the guys at the skill. Like, I'm anxious to see the receivers, you know, and some of these dudes out there. I want to see the freshman quarterback. Although, is he here yet? The Iamaleava dude, was he an early enrollee?
I don't think he's supposed to be.
Yeah. So, but I'm excited to see the new guys from the portal and everything. But spring ball doesn't do much for me, man. I wish I could lie to you and say it did, and that's not because I'm like super down or whatever on the football team. It's just not exciting. I like fall camp more than I like spring ball personally.
No, fall camp's definitely a lot cooler. I'm not excited for it, but I'm not in like a grumpy, like I'm angry about it. I'm with you, Curtis, where like it just doesn't really like get me excited. And frankly, I've gone into multiple years excited for spring. Like I've tried to do the bit a few times where I'm like, no, I'm gonna like really be tapped in, figure out all I can. But there's just a lot of stuff that happens in spring ball that doesn't even translate to fall camp, let alone the season. Like in hell, it goes both ways. Like I remember when Jaden Hazelwood first got to campus and he sucked the entire spring, like was horrible. And we were like, damn, Mark, like this guy sucked. And then turns out it's like, oh, he was actually just a little bit banged up. Now in fall camp, he's great. In the season, he's good. You know, there's going to be key pieces that aren't even on the team in spring. There's not a quarterback battle, not a quarterback controversy, because we at least had that going into last spring. Like this time last year, we were kind of like, oh, we don't know for sure who the quarterback is. I don't know. I mean, I'll tap in with it and I'll react to the news that comes out of it. And I'm sure I will learn some things. And I've got my eye on a few guys in particular, but I'm definitely not like buzzing for spring ball. And contrary to what Curtis said, it is because I think the Razorback football team is bad.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm glad you said it, Andrew, because I was going to throw that out there too. It's like, yeah, it's probably a big part of it.
Listen, I didn't say they were going to be good. I just said I'm not down on them. You know,
that wasn't your reasoning, which is fair. You know, but yeah, it definitely would. Like if I thought this team had a chance to be like 9-3, it would definitely change a little bit.
Yeah.
Are we offended by Sam Pittman being behind the times and playing the spring game anyway, because so many people are going to be tuned in to SEC Plus or wherever they stream it to poach any good players that have emerged in the spring? Because I tweeted out, obviously in jest, but I was like, hey, Sam Pittman ain't afraid of no spring game. And everybody's like, yeah, because he's an idiot. And now all the good players are going to get plucked in the portal. I don't know, man. Like maybe it's not. Yeah, exactly. I really don't care. I just hope that he's watching everybody else's spring game to go pluck their players.
I think Arkansas is probably going to have players plucked, but it's not going to be because they broadcast the spring game.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be something like that. But yeah, did you really expect Arkansas to be on the forefront of like the cutting edge new way of thinking?
Nope.
No. Well, I just laugh too, because it's like how many people are just being like, whoa, this guy in this spring meaningless spring game caught 2 touchdown passes. Now I'm going to recruit him. Like, I don't think it goes to that stretch, but I'm also just, I don't know. It's, to me, spring football is about newness. That's what interests me. And there's not newness. I mean, there's new players, but there's not an energy. There's not a quarterback battle. There's not a new coordinator. There's not a new coach. Like if Arkansas had a new coach right now, I'd actually be really pumped about it because I want to see. So to me, spring's always been about newness. If that happens,
yeah.
I mean, that's why we were so excited about it last year, because Bobby was back.
Yep.
You know, and like we can talk about Talon and Jacoby and whatever that was supposed to be, but we were all there, you know, every day to see Bobby. You know, that's where all the cameras were, man. And now he's just kind of a dude. He's there, and it's not that exciting anymore. I'm happy he's there, but
y'all know who was one of the best players on the team in spring last year? I'll tell you who the best players on each side of the ball were. Tyrone Broden, and Jalen Braxton. Those were like the 2 guys that I came out of spring being like, those guys are awesome. And then Braxton gets hurt. Broden was not good.
Yep. I can't believe you have no love for Cat Savis, man. That dude.
Now, Cat Savis did cook, but he's another one where it's like, I mean, again, like that's really what you get out of spring ball is just the random guys that make plays for no reason.
And that's why I almost don't want to pay as much attention, because I let Broden's spring superstardom cloud me all the way through the preseason. So we were doing our predictions. I'm like, oh no, he's definitely your number 2 guy. Like he's figured it out. The hands have arrived. Nope.
Yeah.
Only once.
Well, if you guys are down for it, I'm going to do it anyways. But if you guys want to play into it as well, I'm going to do this on the show throughout spring, where it's just like, we're going to go all in on the overreaction. Just be like, if like we see and hear about, like, no, we're going to be like, this guy is the best. And he's a 1,000-yard rusher right now. Like just really embrace the absurdity of spring football and the takes that come from it, and just go over the top, because that's really what it's going to be about. The only difference is we're going to be joking and others aren't. So
running back Mike Washington is the best Mike Washington to ever come through Arkansas.
That's right.
And you shut up right now. He is not going to be better than 00.
Yeah,
he's honestly low key one of my all time favorites. I love Mike Washington.
He's great, man. I loved him. Yeah.
Don't forget about AJ Green and his return. You know, as a linebacker.
Storyline of all this.
Yeah, I mean, it's so insane. But what's crazy though is that the poll question, if you're excited about Razorback Spring Football, only 55% said no. So it's actually a lot closer than I thought it would be.
That's more. There's more excitement for Spring Ball than there was the Liberty Bowl. So
it's true. It's true. Well,
that's crazy.
That still remains.
Boys, that only 55% said no. Only a slight majority of Arkansas fans don't care about the football team right now.
Because I honestly thought it'd be huge. I thought it would be like 75%.
Did y'all see that their win totals? I can't remember where it was, but got bumped up to 5.5. The over under. Yeah.
Based on what, dude?
Vanderbilt was down at 3. South Carolina was down there with Arkansas. Yeah, but they got at least another win, I guess, tacked on to the total. Unless I just completely overlooked
right now. Hypothetically, someone could place a bet on Arkansas to win under 5.5 games, and they could make money on that.
Yeah.
Wow. Hammer it.
Yeah. I need to go find where I saw that, but it was like one of those SEC. It might have been SEC Mike or something, but somebody posted it from some sports book. So
that's insanity. Because weren't they 5.5 last year? If that.
Around there, yeah. Either 4.5 or 5.5, depending where you look.
Oh, so with a less talented roster and a more difficult schedule, sure. Why not? Golly, that's insane. Absolutely insane.
And by the way, we were woke on that we thought they were going to hit their win total last year.
Well,
yeah, Curtis didn't face the Hogs.
Even Curtis projected them to go 5-7. Like that would have hit their 4.5 win total.
Yeah. I still feel like I should have been right. They were closer to 7-5 than they were 6-6. My God, like they a few of those they should have won. So, but that's not the way it works. But
hey, I know we've already talked about this, but I do want to, because sometimes I feel like it's like sarcasm when people throw things in there, and then other times people just really don't even know what the latest is. But Thero hyperextended his left knee in the Missouri game, and the U of A put out a release on that. They don't think it's a surgical deal. Not out for the season, according to them. There's just no timeline for his return. He's in LA getting a second opinion. I wouldn't expect to have him tomorrow against South Carolina.
Yeah. There you have it. There you have it. Also, on BetSaracen, folks, if you do want to say the Razorbacks win the national championship in college football next year, you can get in on it at plus 200,000. So,
okay,
there you go.
Win your money. Get your bets in. I'm sure that thing's going to be changing here soon. The amount of money that's going to get thrown on it. Golly, yeah, that's just wild.
So now everybody's saying that this is crazy. I need to double check my work on that 5.5 win total. I'm like 99% sure that's exactly what I saw, though.
Well, we were told they were going to be 9-3, so we were told that. I mean,
you think that moved the line?
That must have been it. Had to be like, oh well, if people are saying that 9-3 is real, especially if they work at the U of A, then it must be true. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, when you look that up and let us know, because I want to know if that's like true. If it's something who's trolling, right now, like what's happening here.
I try to never tell a lie on here. So
that's good.
According to the chat, Josh Pate quoted it.
Okay, let me find it.
But I don't know if that was if that was Twitter or if that was.
I know that Josh Pate has John blocked, but I've still got him here. So
that was a whole thing, man. Tell you what, we'll keep it moving in while Curtis looks that up. We'll get to your Arkansas update presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owner's insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Razorback baseball, of course, will be starting up at 3:00 today. Me and Andrew are going to be at the game. You may even see us if you're watching the game on TV. But we'll be there. It's 3:00 today, and was it 2:00 tomorrow, Andrew? And then Sunday is
noon, I think.
Okay, all right. I thought it was maybe the 3-2-1. I always like that when it's the 3-2-1.
I like when they do the countdown. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, I got a weekend. It's going to be beautiful today. Tomorrow's not going to be bad, but it's going to be a little bit colder. It's going to be like right at 60, maybe a little less than that. But yeah, should be a great weekend for Razorback baseball and everything. And in fact, for those of you who are curious, I think this actually came out today, but yesterday, in case you were curious about what it's looking like for the starters, you got Gabe Gackle today, Zach Root tomorrow, and Beidel Shees being the starter on Sunday. So
heck yeah,
there you have it.
Love that.
Right back to business with where they were supposed to, where it seemed like they were going to start the year. Beidel Shees enjoyed his 1 week out in the bullpen, but I was looking into Charlotte yesterday. I was kind of hoping for the bad pitching staff, sneaky good hitting team. Like I would rather Arkansas face a team like that because really, I don't care how good you are at the plate. Arkansas pitching is probably going to give you a hard time. And I really would like to see Arkansas build some confidence at the plate. Charlotte is not that. They've got a pretty solid pitching staff. They're 3 starters, all of which are right-handed. None of them are like anything to write home about. One of them is a transfer from Georgia, so he pitched under Wes Johnson for a little bit, but he only threw like 16 innings in his career at Georgia. He's in their weekend rotation. They've got a JUCO guy, a D2 guy. Again, nothing that jumps off the page, but their bullpen, they've got 3 or 4 real veterans. One of their guys has like 18 strikeouts in 9 innings or something like that. Like he's like off to a crazy start to the year. So they've got some decent arms that they're going to throw at Arkansas that have been pretty good. Charlotte's an interesting program because Arkansas played them in 2023. And that year they finished like 37-24. They were like a fringe tournament team. And for a while, they were like consistent. Like every year they were winning 36, 38, 40 games. Last year, they had a weird down year where they finished under 500. And so I don't know where they're going to end up. They've got a lot of newcomers, a lot of JUCO, a lot of D2 transfers, a lot of transfer from small schools. So it's tough to tell like what direction they're going to be headed in as a program. So it's a win that, like, you know, if Arkansas sweeps them, I'd love to say that's going to age well, but we really don't know much about Charlotte. There's not a ton of familiarity there, but just looking at their pitching numbers and seeing some of their guys, like they had some really good arms in 2023 when Arkansas played them. So I expect they're going to win some games, but I don't know if this is one where it's like, this is going to be a great RPI win that ages well. I can't commit to that, but I do think they got a sneaky decent pitching staff. So if there's a 4-2 game in this series, don't be surprised.
Sweep? Feeling sweep?
Yeah, I think they're going to sweep them ultimately. I mean, they hit like 226 as a team so far. Yeah. I mean, early season, 7 games in.
That's going to go down this weekend.
Yeah, and so I feel like they're just not going to. They only have like 5 home runs total in their starting lineup or something like that. Like they don't have a ton of power. So I just feel like there's not a big threat there. I feel like some of Arkansas's top arms might really shove.
I like it, boys. I found the list, the football win totals. Yeah, from Brad Crawford. At 24/7 Sports, he's got the updated preseason SEC win totals from Bet Online. So you have Georgia, Texas, Tennessee at 9.5. You got LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss at 8.5. Missouri and Auburn 7.5. Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Florida 6.5. South Carolina and Arkansas 5.5. Then Kentucky 4.5. Mississippi State 3.5. Vanderbilt 3. So there you go.
Great. So one of the only team that Arkansas has more total wins listed there is Mississippi State that they actually play.
That's right.
That's good. That's good to hear. Good. Also, speaking of football, you got the NFL Combine going on. Remember when that was a thing? But you had Landon Jackson showing out a little bit.
And bouncy.
Yeah, an athleticism score of 86. I don't know what that means, but he did run a 4.68 40 dash with a 40.5-inch vertical leap and a 10-foot 9-inch broad jump. So
that's insane.
Dude's doing good.
I read some like really promising things about his relative athletic score. So I saw this. I don't know who this is. Probably some unofficial guy on Twitter or whatever. But he just takes all the metrics and he puts them into a spreadsheet. According to his thing, he had Landon Jackson's relative athletic score at a 9.8 out of 10. Number 23 out of 1,802 defensive ends at the Combine since 1987.
Wow.
So like high, like top 1% athleticism. I mean, especially when he was 6'6", 264 is what they listed him at. Had a really good 20-yard split, pretty good broad jump, 40.5-inch vertical. Like that's Landon Jackson's going to be a rich man soon.
Yep. Freak athlete. That's for sure. Also, I know we that's maybe don't talk about enough, but the way that the Ladybacks lost their game last night to Missouri may have been the most like Ladyback thing of all time, maybe the most Arkansas thing of all time. They're bad, man. They're really bad, and we know that they've been bad. And I hate it for like Higginbottom, it was her final game, and she had like 37 points, something crazy like that. But man, just to set the tone because we can't play it, but Arkansas was tied with Missouri, and there was like 10 seconds left. They called timeout and advanced the ball. So, that's how it works. So Arkansas has the ball with it tied. They're trying to inbound it to Higginbottom. And Missouri, she was double teamed. It was one of the worst inbound passes you ever see. Missouri steals it, just runs down the court, gets a layup, and wins. So it's just awful.
It was
awful
brutal, man. And the poor girl that was inbounding the ball there on the side, right in front of the Arkansas bench, it never crossed her mind to even consider trying to inbound that ball to anybody else. I told you guys in the group last night, like Missouri could put all 5 of their players on Higginbottom. She would have still tried to throw it into her. Like the easiest steal in history, man. Yeah. And then the chick took it coast to coast, and it's after Missouri had a chance to take the lead at the free throw line, and the girl pulled a DJ Wagner and missed the go ahead one after tying it. And, then they called the timeout, advanced the ball. And, and Coach Z was on the call. I wound up watching the entire second half because I just love listening to Coach Z, and he nailed it. He was like, look, they're going to call timeout. They're going to advance the ball. They're going to get to Higginbottom. She's going to get downhill because Missouri can't stop her. And had she got the ball, she probably would have. But as it turns out, didn't work out that way. And last game for Higginbottom and Bud turns out to be a clunker for the team there. That was tough. And Missouri's not good. I think they had like the same SEC record or the same amount of wins or whatever.
Two SEC wins.
Yeah.
I remember at SEC Media Days, and I've told the story before, talking to Ethan Westerman, and he was saying Missouri was the only team he ranked below Arkansas, and he was like, I can't rank someone below Arkansas until they beat them. Well,
because it was the first.
I guess next year you can do it, but it sucks for Izzy, dude. She really is like one of the best players that's ever played at Arkansas. Women's basketball, of course. I mean, she's averaging like 24 a game or something like that. Like, she's one of the best scorers in the entire country, and so it's like. The girls team, we knew they were gonna stink going into the year, but like for them to squander like one of the best individual seasons in program history, it really hurts even worse.
Yeah, they are 2-13, which is dead last in the SEC, which is where they were picked. But there's 4 teams above them that have 3 wins: Missouri, Auburn, Georgia, and A&M. So either way,
can we talk about the weird report that happened yesterday? There was like a fake report that Mike Neighbors was going to step down. I don't know who it came from, but it was like clearly like
anybody that has like Razorback or something, their Twitter handle, people just automatically assume that it's like a media outlet or something. But
it was like just a blatantly fake thing. And you know how these things are, like it's people that are just trying to guess. And so you kind of think, okay, is their guess going to end up being right? But it was confirmed. Ethan Westerman had that report that Mike Neighbors will not be stepping down, which is interesting. Like, he said he wouldn't be stepping down, but like, does that mean he's like 100% coming back next year?
I think he is. I mean, the day before the game, he gave this whole in-depth interview about his like plan for the portal and the revenue sharing and how that's going to be able to benefit him and everything, and how they're going to try to attack rebuilding the roster. And if the decision was already made that he's out of here, he sure does a good job of not letting on to the fact that that's going to be the case. Like, I think somebody just kind of pulled that one out of thin air there.
No, like it's going to continue to prove things. This Yurchek's not going to fire anybody. No, but everybody's safe. It's kind of like in Star Wars. Nobody actually dies. They just like come back somehow randomly. Sorry, Curtis, but yeah. Let's see. We'll get to your chat still. Hey, shout out to our guy, Robin. Appreciate you, Robin. Alexander says, great content, guys. We appreciate what y'all do. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Oh, yeah, appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Very cool.
You. I don't know if Robin's new to this or not. I don't know, but I just don't remember many chats from him previously. And,
that's a sick name, though.
Are we sure it's not Robin?
I'm going with Robin.
I think Robin's pretty cool. It could be Robin, but Robin sounds cool. Right. Not that Robin's not a good name, but it's different. It's unique. So, but thank you. We appreciate you, man. Let's see. Also, a few other things. I tell you what, we'll keep it moving because we got to get to some other things here today as well. But let's go ahead and do a little SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to rhoback.com and use promo code HOGS20 for 20% off your first purchase. And there is some interesting games going on in the SEC basketball landscape this weekend, which we know, it's how good the conference has been, and there's a lot of standings that are really close. But how about at noon on ABC, mind you, Auburn and Kentucky. Number 1 Auburn going to Lexington to face the Wildcats, who are fully healthy now, I've been told. And I don't know. I'm really hoping Auburn wins, but I don't really know what to make of this. I really don't.
That's a fun game.
Hopefully,
I really think that's a fun game. At Rupp, I think that probably gives Kentucky a fighting chance. I'm not sure if they're actually 100% healthy. Like, I don't think Jackson Robinson played in the second half, and I guess he didn't look too good in there. And then Lamont Butler, I don't know that he's ever going to be healthy. He's just kind of like a tough dude or whatever. But I don't care because Arkansas has injuries too. Everybody has injuries at this stage of the game. It just seems like Auburn, like whatever wake-up call they needed to have, they got it. I mean, that win over Ole Miss was so emphatic that it feels like they just might buzzsaw their way through the rest of this thing. I hope they go in there and smack Kentucky up. The more Kentucky loses the rest of the way here, and I think they still have to play Missouri too.
Mm-hmm.
How funny will it be if Arkansas catches them in the SEC standings after all this? And mathematically, it's still possible, which it's just crazy to think that's the case.
Yeah, because Arkansas 6-9, they're 8-7. So I mean, Kentucky's got Auburn and Missouri, but they also have LSU at home. I mean, if they go 0-3, that would put them at 8-10, and if Arkansas was to win out, they'd be at 9-9. So that would be the way it would happen. But man, I guess if they both ended with the same record, it's almost a tiebreaker. So yeah.
Curtis, am I correct in thinking that Oklahoma was in Joe Lunardi's latest field?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's last in and Georgia's first out.
Oklahoma is 4-11 in the SEC. 4-11. I knew they were like obviously bad, but like they're playing. They're at Ole Miss tomorrow, and Ole Miss obviously coming off of a thumping. Is this like Oklahoma's last stand? Like, is this must win? Like they have to win out?
It has to be.
You would think so, right? Like you can't be 6-12 and have a chance.
No, and like okay, and so they've got what's the rest of their schedule here? Because you mentioned one game. I think they play Texas still.
Yeah, they actually got at Ole Miss, then Missouri at home, and then at Texas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking you guys are gonna be lucky if you go 1-3. Like, so if they're 5-13, they're just gonna throw them in there because they beat freaking Louisville before they got in the ACC and started winning a bunch of games. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, you said it before that the tournament committee does not look at conference record, and I think that's been like confirmed by several big people that are in the know. But I don't think people truly understand that. And I mean, there's no better example than a 4-11 team in Oklahoma who's like still, if not firmly in the tournament. Like it's crazy to me,
man.
And it makes me feel so much better about Arkansas too.
Yeah. It's I don't understand. It'll be so weird. I don't think they'll get in at that. But even if they get in at like 5-13, like that'd just be so strange seeing a team in the NCAA tournament with a 5-13 SEC record. But you mentioned it. Oklahoma and Ole Miss play tomorrow. That game's in Oxford. That's at 1:00 on ESPN2. 2:30, you got LSU Mississippi State. Oh, the game's in Starkville on the SEC network. And then you have another great game, which not only in football, but it is in basketball as well. Alabama and Tennessee. This game happened on ESPN at 3:00, and it is in Knoxville.
It's an interesting game.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama can score on anybody, and Tennessee's just Tennessee.
They'll guard you.
Yeah,
Tennessee's always been the worst possible top 10 matchup you can imagine. Like they played A&M like last week, and it was just like, ugh.
Yeah,
I have a. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I don't know what's been more consistent: Tennessee being in the top 10 all year long, or Mississippi State being between 20th and 25th all year long. Like it just seems like they've not moved from there.
That's a very good point. We were just talking about the selection committee not take into account conference records. They look at the full body of work. I think you got to do one of two things though. Like you either have to take the conference stuff into account, or you have to put a little bit of weight on like your last 10 games or whatever, because there's just such a start. I understand like you want the games in November and everything to matter too. But when you look at Arkansas or any of these bubble teams that are, have been playing real well lately, trajectory matters to me. And like if resumes are close, it doesn't just seem like, I don't know, like preferential treatment, or like the tide goes to the runner, tide goes to the team that's trending in the right direction, that could actually do something in the tournament, that's playing like a tournament team, where Arkansas is kind of doing that right now. And like you say, you look at Oklahoma and they're 4-11 since the calendar flipped, and they've lost 6 out of 7 or something. Texas, it feels like they haven't won a game, outside of that Kentucky game in like a month now. It's like, are those the teams that really need to be representing, the NCAA in March Madness? Or is it, the teams who might have scuffled a little bit and then found their stride and they're playing like an actual tournament team right now, but they don't take either one of those things into account. And so it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah. I don't understand it, and I don't think I ever will, but at least with Alabama and Tennessee, I'm hoping that one could be an interesting, good game. Because there's a couple more actually that are interesting, maybe for different reasons. But like at 5 p.m., the SEC Network has Missouri and Vanderbilt, which I'm kind of fascinated by. This game's in Nashville, so we know Missouri can score and they do all that, but Vanderbilt's just one of those teams that's been really playing well, and so this could be something that Vanderbilt ends up taking care of business in. So you have that, and then you have a game that no one cares about with Georgia and Texas. Maybe if this was football, they would, but not in basketball. At 7:00 on ESPN. What's up?
That's
got to be. Yeah,
it better be.
Whoever loses that game is toast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you can get into the Moody Center for $3, so get there. It's a must-win game for whoever's in there.
Rodney Terry versus Mike White for the
Georgia's going to beat him. I'm just telling you right now.
I think so too. And also at 7:30 on the SEC Network, Texas A&M goes on the road to number 3 Florida down there in Gainesville. So another intriguing matchup, which somebody was talking about, I guess maybe maybe y'all brought it up, but on the midweek and Wednesday night and seeing Texas A&M just take forever in games and how it's just so ugly and it's so bad at basketball. So I really hope Florida wins. I just root against A&M all the time because I hate the way they play basketball. So give me Florida, please.
I feel you.
Love that. Yeah. So good slate of SEC games going on, and can't wait to see how some of them play out. But you got that, and also don't forget Razorback baseball going on this weekend too. And this is a question that got asked from Razorback retweets on Twitter. Wanted our opinion. What percentage chance would you guys give the Razorbacks of winning these last 3 games and finishing the regular season with 20 wins? You got to put a number on it. What are you thinking?
3-0.
Yeah. I gave it 60%.
60.
I'm going to go 40.
Wow, maybe I'm the hater. I was thinking like 30.
Well, I'm back now. People are accusing me of being the homer again, so I think I'm back all the way back.
So I'm just thinking the Vanderbilt game alone is like 50-50, right?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's going to be favored at least to win that one. But yeah, I mean, it's like a coin flip at best. Yeah.
So you're serious. You're saying that's a 50-50 game. And let's say you have a 65% chance to beat Mississippi State, which is probably generous. We'll say 60, 65. You just kind of add it up. I feel like it's got to be below 50, right? Like the percent chance of Arkansas winning out.
John's all in.
Yep. I'm all in on it. Well, because I look at it as like, okay, you're playing South Carolina. Realistically, I feel like this is a 75%, 80% chance you should win this game. Like you are a better team. You should. Okay.
We're doing the Scott Steiner bit right now.
Yeah.
The rest of Scott Steiner.
Yes.
You got a 33 and 3% chance to beat me.
I mean, but I was like adding the percentages there. So I was like, okay, that one's pretty high. And I have the Mississippi State game at like 60% that they should win, 65%. And then I have Vanderbilt at less than 50%. So, just doing the averages there comes out this, 60-ish something. We'll roll with it.
Yeah. I respect it.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll go my way too. I'm sure it'll be right. But a few other chats too. Samuel just wants to know, hey, what time does the availability report come out?
A little after 7 tonight.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Also, go ahead.
Yeah, like it comes out a little bit after 7. Listen, I would be surprised if Big Z's not on it. Okay, so he's holding his back or whatever. He'll be on there. Probably listed as probable or questionable, whatever. I wouldn't freak yourself out about it. I really wouldn't. He's good. Like he was doing Instagram lives and stuff all day yesterday. But it's just one of those things that you put on there. He's playing tomorrow. It's like when people saw Carter Knox on there the other day and it was like, Carter Knox probable. Well, that means he's probably going to play. He's just a little banged up. Nobody's 100%. Some people don't even put guys on there like that. And others will put, like Lane Kiffin will put his whole team on those reports. It's like, oh yeah, well, probable. So don't get yourself freaked out if that's the case. I wouldn't worry about that. I think the biggest thing is Thero still on there as, 100% out, or is it, doubtful or anything else? Because that would just indicate that he's at least with the team.
There you go. Well, what you can just say about those injury reports and availability reports, I've been looking to play this.
It's all fake, but a little shit.
That's Cal saying it right there.
Yeah, it's also true.
Yeah, it's all fake BS. What it is. So
we learned from our King Sam Pittman that if you have one of your key players that has an injured back, you do not have to list them on the injury report. Luke has never made an appearance on the Arkansas injury report, and then it turns out he's hurt the entire year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, who does anybody really need to know if someone's hurt or not? I mean, come on. It's nobody looks at those availability reports. It's not important to the games or anything like that. So let's just be real about it. All right. So we'll do a little what we're watching for the weekend and everything, presented by BetSaracen. So check out the BetSaracen app. We mentioned it already. They got a few sports bets that you can hammer. Not only for this weekend for Razorback football. That would be fun. You can actually do that for futures. But Razorback basketball, they got some specials there, as well as some Razorback baseball specials, a ton of Razorback baseball specials to choose from. So check it out, BetSaracen.com, and download the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas, far and away, with downloading it on your iPhone or on your Android. It's BetSaracen. So I'm just real curious about what you think about this, Andrew, especially. But how do you feel about Viva Loy getting over 1.5 RBIs and over a half hit by pitch today in the game?
I don't hate it. I just hate betting on a hit by pitch.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a tough one. He has been hit. I think he's been hit by 4 or 5 pitches. He's been hit by an insane amount of pitches. So I mean, we'll see. I think the program record is like 17 or 18. So he's on track to break that. So I can see it. I mean, he's a big donkey. He crowds the plate, but I hate betting on a hit by pitch, because then it would suck if he got the 2 RBIs and then like drew a couple walks or something like that. And it's like, damn.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, let me ask you this: will Arkansas score in the first inning today?
No.
Okay. Well, you can bet that at plus 135. Get plus money on it. So with BetSaracen,
I think that's like fair odds. Honestly, it's like I think them scoring in the first inning is about that. Like about plus 130.
Yeah. How do you feel like the first hit's going to be for Arkansas?
Oh, nuke for sure.
All right, plus 850 for a home run.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kahio Lloyd first at bat, second inning.
How about this? Okay, here's this is actually a good one, fun one. Who hits the first home run in today for Arkansas?
So okay, I'm assuming they have odds for specific players.
Yep.
What's Kahio looking like?
Plus 300.
That's inflated a little bit. What's Rocco Pepe's odds for that?
So Rocco Pepe is actually not even listed. He'd have to be under the other category at plus 400.
Interesting.
There's also no home run option you can get for plus 350. So if you don't think there's any nukes, but yeah,
come on.
I'll give you the odds from here. Yeah. So Brent Iredale is at plus 230, as well as Vahiva Aloy at plus 230. Baby Aloy's at plus 300. Ryder Helfrich's at plus 550, and Justin Thomas is at plus 700.
Helfrich plus 550 seems like a good bet. He got his first home run on Tuesday. I mean, I think he's going to be a guy that hits probably 15.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, okay. I think people should be betting Aloy and Iredale home runs as many times as they can. Like I realistically think both those guys are going to be hit in that 20 home run range. And so it's like, that's every third game pretty much. So,
yeah. Okay. Also, do you think there'll be an extra inning game today?
No, come on. Please, no. God, no.
Plus 900.
We cannot afford to have that.
Well, yeah, plus 900 if you think that there's going to be an extra inning game today. So, all right. So a few of them for South Carolina, just some of the specials. Guys, who do we think is getting the double-double? If Arkansas is getting a double-double tomorrow, who's getting it? Zvonimir?
Yeah, to be Z.
Yeah, he's at plus 375. Other at plus 450, and DJ Wagner's at plus 750. So
Big Z will put the team on his injured back.
That's right.
We got Trevin or Jonas on there?
Nope, they're listed in the other category.
That's disrespectful, man.
I tell you, man. Yeah, there's some
that's
haters
crazy.
out there. How
Trevin
about
played 40 minutes and couldn't get 10 rebounds? I don't know if he's getting 10 rebounds, man.
He had 8.
Yeah, it's true. And in overtime too. Let's see. They also have who hits the first 3 for Arkansas.
Nelly.
I like Nelly. I'll go Carter.
Okay, plus 200 for Nelly. Carter plus 325. So Trevor Brazil's not listed, and it's others set at plus 650. So I'm going to try that again.
When he cashed it last game, right?
Yep, that's right. How about who scores the first points?
DJ Wagner.
Yeah, always. I think Nelly. I like Nelly for that one as well.
Well, if you're saying DJ Wagner, he's got the highest odds at plus 550.
Good.
So
this is a DJ Wagner game. They've got skinny guards.
Yeah, let him muscle it in there. And so, you got that. And then, of course, you got other specials too. Like, what do you think is the first basket scored or type of basket scored in the game between both teams?
South Carolina free throw.
Heck yeah, plus 1750. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Hopefully it happens. So, yeah, there you go. Those are a few of the specials to check out. And also, if you're one of those people that goes and bets on college baseball, Arkansas is favored by 1.5 runs today in that game. So, yeah,
1.5 runs.
1.5 runs.
It seems crazy,
dude. That's. I mean, Lamar Paris has more runs than that after his weekly or his daily breakfast stop.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, the over/under set at 11.5 too runs in this game.
Oh, so that's kind of crazy to me. You're telling me that Arkansas basketball is a heavier basketball point favorite against the worst team in the SEC by 1 than Arkansas baseball against Charlotte? and bomb. Gacko on the bump.
It's weird that the 11.5, that's the over under. So that means that Vegas is thinking Arkansas is going to like give up 4 or 5 runs.
That's crazy.
Them boys might not score today. I'm gonna be honest with you. They might not score today.
Yeah.
Arkansas
I'm probably taking
a few, but Charlotte might not score any.
Yeah, I'm probably taking the under, but I'm going to take Arkansas 1.5. I think Arkansas wins something like 6-2 or something crazy like that.
Right. Arkansas could play poorly and hit poorly and get shut down by a starter and still hit that bet.
Yeah, they absolutely could. So there you have it. Yeah, a few specials, folks. Check out BetSaracen and BetSaracen.com to get in on a few of those specials. So yeah, we got just about 15 minutes here. I want to start doing this Fridays, and I need to promote it more here on the show. But just like a wide open Friday, if we can just any of your chats that you want to kind of before we sign off for the weekend, at least here on Inside Arkansas Live, just get in on the conversation. Throw us some chats. It could be weird. Most of them are anyways, but you can get in on that. But I did want to bring up a few stories and things that obviously are going around in the sports world or non-sports world. But did you guys see this Ian Rappaport thing with the Starbucks fight that kind of started happening?
Yeah, Ian, and who's the other person?
Jordan Schultz. Jordan Schultz.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I saw a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently that he tackled him. Like he tackled him inside of the Starbucks. So
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on with that, but it's just funny to me because I'm like a couple nerds just getting in a fight at Starbucks.
You'll be fighting at Starbucks.
Yeah. If you're gonna do it, at least do it in some place that deserves a fight. A Waffle House, something like that.
I hope we get a Rappaport anymore. I hope we get a Rappaport versus Schefter boxing match one day.
That'd be fun.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
Woj and Shams are kind of different body types, different age groups, just different. That rivalry's not one that I want to see played out physically, but Rappaport and Schefter are like both 5'7", just short middle-aged men. Like they could duke it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Also, Greg Popovich is not returning as head coach, which I feel like is years too late, but
well, he's got like some health issues, I believe.
Yeah, he does. And I'm not trying to say he's obviously not a bad coach. It just felt like once the Duncan, Manu Ginobili, all that ended, it's just like there was nothing to it. So
you need a young European mind to get Victor Wembanyama to his potential.
David Blatt.
Yep, that's exactly who I was thinking.
Curtis, you know who Victor Wembanyama's main coach is in the offseason, like for skill development?
No, I don't.
Jamal Crawford.
I love that.
Yeah, and they I mean, like, obviously, you think Jamal Crawford guard, but Jamal, I've heard him talk about it. He's got a very specific plan in mind how to get Victor Wembanyama to the next level. And I mean,
I love that.
He's doing a decent job, I'd say.
Jamal Crawford was a bucket, man.
Yeah, just never would have thought he would be the primary coach for a 7'4" guy. But I mean, you can see when you see Victor play, you could tell he's like he views himself as a guard a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Some other real storylines. You guys gonna be interested in seeing the Jeffrey Epstein list that reportedly is going to be coming out? You guys, is that something you follow at all?
I mean,
I do not follow.
I'm more interested in seeing the Diddy party list. But
I think there's going to be some overlap between those.
About to say it might be the same list for all just different titles at the top of the list.
I mean, it's not something that I think about every day, but if it comes out, I'd definitely be interested. Like I'll pick through it for sure.
That was my question. If it comes out, are you going to look at it and see who's on it at least?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I'm kind of interested in it, but then I'm like, I know something's going to upset me because I'm like, oh man, that person. I like that person. That was a good.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to ignore a few names on the list.
Yeah, exactly. Also, a few other things of note. Man, there's been some buzzer beaters that's been getting hit, man, and college basketball. I wish we could play some of them, but you got Michigan burying Rutgers with a dagger 3 at the buzzer. Hate that for Rutgers. But it has been, and it's just like all those times. It always seems like the buzzer beaters get hit and during the regular season, at least, the buzzer beaters get hit by the better teams that you're not rooting for. Like, it seems like it always happens. Do you guys remember I think it was like Duke, Virginia Tech way back when they hit a half court shot at the buzzer to win when Virginia Tech was up 2. It's like, why couldn't it have been the other way around? It's just so sad. But
the Michigan State one the night before was better. And Maryland. That was crazy. And that, I mean, the Michigan shot was a great shot, but it was like a catch and shoot 3. But the dude from Michigan State, yeah, he was at like half court in a tie game. That was sick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's nothing better than buzzer beaters, especially buzzer beaters in the NCAA tournament. Real quick, favorite buzzer beater in the NCAA tournament, just of all time.
I want to say it was Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
It won against, who was that? Was it like, it was a top seed.
Was it a couple years ago?
It was probably like 2016.
Oh, okay. I think it was Kansas.
Maybe I was going to say it was Kansas.
Yeah, it might have been Kansas, but it was like in the first, it was like early on. There's been some good ones here in the last decade, but I think the best one in March Madness history, Chris Jenkins. Come on.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
That was a flawless play, flawless shot. Just, it was perfect. It was such a good moment.
I like that one. The kid from Gonzaga that hit the one a couple, who were they playing? Were they playing UCLA?
Yes.
And that might have been COVID time. But then he jumped up on the scores table and everything. That was pretty sick. The Valpo play.
Yeah.
Who were they? Were they playing Ole Miss? Who were they playing?
Ole
That's
Miss.
right. That inbounds play was freaking sick. And like we used to run that, and they got that shot. It was awesome. Who else?
I mean, I love the one, and I'm considering it pretty much a buzzer beater, but man, like I think it was Furman over Virginia. When it, like because we were watching it in Des Moines, I think, and they just like threw it away, and of course Kevin Harlan on the call, and it was just like the things that needed to happen in that regard was awesome. So
gosh, I forgot about that one. That was crazy.
Yeah, that one was great. I mean, there's so many. There was one that, do you guys remember? I'm trying to remember if it was Florida, maybe. This guy ran down the court and he took off from the 3-point line, but he was moving so forward that it almost looked like a 2 when he let go because and it went in. And I was like, oh, they tied. It was like, oh no, they won it because his foot left the 3-point line. I think it was Florida and somebody.
It's okay. Maybe we're thinking of the same one. Florida and Wisconsin played in like a Sweet 16 game, and it looked like he was like trying to get a foul, like trying to do the like bump into, and so he like threw like a floater up from the 3-point line, and it just cash. It was crazy. I think it sent it to overtime is what it was.
Maybe that's what it was. But also too, when you brought up Northern Iowa, still one of the best names of all time, Ali Farouk Manesh. Like that dude was just a beast. I got to meet him one time. Because I don't even remember why. It was just very random. But it was him and also the guy he wore. I don't know if you remember. He was a big bearded, most typical Iowa looking dude, and he wore like workout gloves where his fingers were exposed, but he had the gloves here. I was like, I don't know if that helps you. But sure, go crazy, man. Yeah, Garrett, our guy Garrett McCollum says, did we see what we think we just saw? That was Kevin Harlan's call in the Virginia game. That was awesome. Also, a shout to Chip Sizemore giving us a little super chat. We appreciate you, man. He says, well, while Adu being out isn't ideal, would love to see Brazil and Adu use the next few games to improve their confidence and team's depth. Hopefully Adu is back by SEC tournament for a run.
No, yeah, seriously. That could be a major silver lining type deal for Arkansas if it works out to where Thiero comes back, especially if he doesn't miss too much time. You know what I mean? Because and that's the beauty, I guess, or another silver lining if you want to find that, of a late season injury. Because sometimes, like I wonder about this with Kentucky right now, where like Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler, like if both those guys wind up missing like 3 weeks, a freaking month or whatever, and then you come back, well, like now you've kind of settled into playing a certain way, and then you're reintegrating them. And so then you're trying to get everybody reincorporated and stuff. If it's 2 or 3 games or whatever, and it's just an opportunity for Jonas to just play more without, he makes one mistake and it's like, yeah, okay, he sucks again. Let's get him out of there. Same thing with TB. Get some confidence going with those guys, and then you're just reinserting one player back into the rotation. I'm with you. I think that could be huge for him. I love the idea of a healthy Adu Thiero and a confident Trevin Brazil and Jonas Adu on this roster in March. That sounds great to me.
Yep. Build upon it, especially like they both played well and both had confidence moments against Texas. So hopefully they build on that to where they can make it 2 in a row. For tomorrow too. So yeah, that's what you got.
Arkansas hasn't won 3 games in a row since December.
Ew.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense though. They've had some good teams.
And that's why, like we're talking about the odds of them winning these last 3, like that would be a 5-game winning streak, which they kind of need after losing 5 to start SEC play.
It would make up for it. It's probably why they end up in 500 at 9-9. It's like a poetry, It's a reflects each other.
Rhymes.
Yeah, it rhymes. All right, a few other chats here as well, folks. Actually, real quick, just to let everybody know, I keep failing to mention this, put it on social media and everything, but we're doing final pre-orders for our Inside Arkansas merch. It's happening this weekend, and then we're going to be putting it together. We appreciate everybody reaching out and buying in. We know we love our super chats. We love all those things, folks. But this is another way where you get something in return too. So if you go to insidearkansas.myshopify.com, there's the link below. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can pre-order all of our merch. We got Pot at the Palace shirts and hoodies, as well as Inside Arkansas. I got the Bombastic hat, as well as the Bombastic t-shirt. Got to make sure everyone understands that. If you want a little red action in there too, but doing final pre-orders this weekend. So be sure to check it out and get yours today. Shipments are going to start happening here soon. And a few other chats before we, just real quick, kind of a rapid fire a little bit today. Real quick, Andrew, how do you feel about the baseball game today?
Hogs win 7-2.
There it is. So also somebody brought up Bear McWhorter. Yeah, he committed to Michigan. Yeah. Remember that guy?
How do you feel about that, John?
Kind of sad. Feel betrayed. Yeah, he was a friend, and he came to my tailgate. Even no, I get it though. Like, it would have been a cool story. I feel like he still should be a Razorback and all of that, but I'm not going to hate on him or anything. I mean, I get it. Like, he had a lot of other offers, and Michigan's a pretty good school. So totally
did he announce it via billboard?
He did not. He just announced it, or at least it was announced via On3. Like, that's at least where I saw it. So
once a hog, always a hog.
Yeah, man, that was a waste of money too. I'm sure he wishes you had that back. Let's see. Also, the guy that we were talking about with our super chat, he says it sounds like Robin. So it's not Robin, it's Robin. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, you're welcome.
Still cool.
I was on the right side of history. Just wanted the record to show.
You were. Also, Dave wanted to know what time is the game tonight. Andrew doing a live watch. Well, the game's at 3, and Andrew is not.
Not doing a live watch. I'm thinking about doing one for Sunday. After we do our live watch tomorrow for basketball, I'll have a better feel for my vibes. I think I might do, if not the entire game, I'm definitely going to do a post-series recap that will be live, maybe immediately after the Sunday game, or maybe I'll do the final few innings. I don't know. I'm going to do something live on Sunday afternoon, though.
Yeah. Okay. Also, Chase wants to know, Curtis, your thoughts on Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. They look legit.
My thought is they are legit. But no, seriously, I really like both those guys a lot. I'm super high on Darius Acuff. I love watching Malik Thomas play. Like, he's really got some stuff to him, and trash talker. And I think he has a super, super high ceiling. I get a little bit leery about the overtime elite thing, although Carter Knox has definitely figured it out here lately. Both those guys are really good. And I think from a sheer talent standpoint and like projectable standpoint, they're better prospects than Arkansas's current freshmen. So I'm pumped about it.
I think it's fair to be concerned about the overtime elite pipeline a little bit, but I feel like Carter Knox helps. I also think Malik Thomas is a mature enough kid to where he's not dumb. He doesn't think in his brain he's going to Arkansas and everyone's going to clear out and play around him. Like, I think he understands the task at hand. So hopefully they get the best version of him.
Acuff is he's like a mixture of DJ Wagner and Billy Richmond, like with just like his toughness and his energy and activity levels. But he's a better shooter, I think, than both of them. Like, I'm really excited about Acuff, man. Malik Thomas could be one of those guys like Knox that maybe takes a while to really get going, or like if his learning curve is a little bit faster. We were talking about Arkansas finding a dude who's like a Trey Johnson. I'm not saying that he would come in here and be that and like lead the SEC in scoring as a freshman, but he could be a guy with some big time pop as a scorer.
And finally, I'm sure this is a great one to end on. From John Doe, he says, what about Bryce Mitchell getting to fight one of the best strikers in the UFC? Does Bryce Mitchell end up Harlem shaking in this fight like the one Trump was in attendance for? I don't know what any of this means, so I'm going to let you answer it.
So one, it's a mean reference to Bryce getting knocked out cold last December. That was a tough one. So yeah, Bryce just got a fight booked. He's fighting. So the video I showed, I guess it was Monday, about the knockout of the guy where he the ref had to, he was like basically telling the ref to stop it. I played that on the show Monday. That guy is fighting Bryce Mitchell on April 12th in Miami, which is going to be an awesome UFC card, like one of their most loaded of the year, probably their best card of Q1. And so Bryce, one big opportunity for him. Of course, Bryce has made news for non-fighting reasons recently. So a lot of people are viewing this as like the UFC, who is very angry at Bryce, sort of feeding him to a young, hungry wrecking ball that they think is going to blow through him. I think I saw opening odds. Bryce is like plus 400 or something like that, plus 420. I think Bryce is actually a live underdog in this fight, but the dude he's fighting, I'm super high on. I think he's unreal, like a future title contender. So will be interesting to see Bryce on one of the bigger stages in April, and we'll see if he can get back on track from a public perception standpoint, from a PR standpoint.
Well, there you have it. All right. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we get out of here for the weekend here on Inside Arkansas Live?
Don't forget the watch party tomorrow at noon. We're doing it. So I would appreciate everybody being there and hanging out. You know, it gets lonely sometimes in a hotel room in St. Louis. So that's where I'm going to be during this basketball game. So come in, hang out. We'll talk about it. It's a good time. And Pod to Palace post-game show will go down afterwards. And hopefully we're talking about a Razorback win and one step closer to locking things up for an NCAA tournament bid.
Woo pig. See you guys later today for a bombastic recap of the 7-2 victory.
All right, well, there you have it. And that does it for us here on Inside Arkansas Live. We appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching. It's been a great week here at Inside Arkansas, and it's going to continue to be great. So be sure to subscribe to us here on Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. You can follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas. You can also subscribe to all of our podcasts wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Spotify or Apple, anywhere like that. And it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, as well as Bombastic Podcast. And you can check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorback. So, for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbor. Same sports show, same sports channel next Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for the watch party for Pod at the Palace. Stay tuned.